When a wolf attacked me, I called him for help. His response, Bunstia, let me calm her down, she's in heat. I didn't deal with your little issue after that. Bella's Poe, it was supposed to be a peaceful night, but everything changed. Jacob and I were headed to the pack's territory deep in the woods 2 hours away, but halfway there the call came in from Mandy, his beloved Mandy. Alpha, I'm in pain. One, I think it was the heat. Her voice was shaky, pitiful even. Without a mate to help ease the pain, it could be unbearable. Jacob's reaction was instant. Mods Mandy, I'm coming, just hang in there. I will be there as soon as I can. I couldn't help the sinking feeling in my chest as I watched him fumble with his phone, the panic in his eyes like he was watching his world crumble. I swallowed the frustration creeping up my throat. We sure only a few miles away from the village, you can miss the. But I was cut off. He shot me a glare, his eyes cold, devoid of the warmth I used to love. Angelbella, stop being selfish. Mandy can handle this on her own. You are not the only one who matters, but he didn't even let me finish. Manchebella, just get out of the car. It's just a short walk. I will come back for you after I make sure she's. Owl, right. The healer said I'm at risk of early labor. He cut me off again, his voice icy this time. Mind you, Torabella, we both know how that happened. I only mated with you because of responsibility. Don't try to guilt trip me into anything more than that. I will be back for you later. Just walk. His words hit like a punch to the gut. I knew the truth, of course. He never loved me, but hearing him say it so casually still hurt. He kicked me out of the car on the side of the road. First, you can walk from here. We are not far from the pack's village. I watched as his taillights disappeared into the distance alone in the middle of the road, with nothing but the growing ache in my stomach and the sound of my own shallow breathing. The moon was high now, casting an eerie glow on the dirt road. I tried to walk one step at a time, but my body was protesting. The baby was pressing down and the cramps were getting worse. I had to rest, but I couldn't stop, not here. Then I heard a rustling in the trees, low growls vibrating through the air. My heart leaped into my throat. Onchair W, who's there, rogue? I barely had time to turn before one lunged at me from the shadows. Its eyes were wild red from rage or hunger. I fell hard, the impact making me gasp in pain, my hands instinctively going to protect my stomach. Help, please. It bit into my shoulder and my face, tearing through flesh like it was nothing. I screamed, thrashing, trying to push it off. In a burst of aggression, I grabbed a fallen branch and swung it with all my strength I can transform. Not in this state. It struck the rogue's head, disorienting it for a moment. Just enough for me to grab a sharp rock and plunge it into its chest, straight into its heart. The rogue let out a final agonized howl before collapsing dead at my feet. I was alive, but barely. Blood oozed from the wound in my shoulder and I couldn't see clearly, mixing with the rain that had started falling. My vision blurred. H, help me. I reached for my phone with shaking hands and dialed Jacob's number. He picked up after several rings, his voice impatient. I with Mandy, she needs me. I need you. I was attacked. Went. My voice was barely a whisper. For God's sake, stop being so dramatic. Mandy's in heat, and she's in agony. Then he hung up. I stared at the phone in disbelief. He left me to die for her, for Mandy, the woman who always had a hold on him, the one he always ran to no matter what. The pain was unbearable now and I could feel myself fading. I collapsed onto the ground, the dirt cold and wet beneath me. My vision went dark-foot and I was left there alone to die. Fellas Pulvey, when I opened my eyes again, it was like I wasn't really there anymore. I had become a ghost just floating above the world, watching it all unfold. My body was still lying somewhere in that forest, bloodied from the rogue's attack, but my soul had drifted away. Before I could figure out what was happening, a strong wind swept me away from the woods and took me straight to Jacob Honenseer.